Welcome, 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 folks. The Four Horsemen Ride again, I think. Yes. Folks, you're in for a treat tonight because the horse are geared up, the horses are watered and fed. And without further ado, we have with us the roaming prepper and Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival and the Livingston man. What's going on, fellas?
That's right. You get a 2-for-1 sale over here, baby.
This way we can all have a widescreen too. Like one time we were on Rumble and it was
then
like
we had the big heads here.
Yeah, Samantha be a big head.
You
No, it's a
mean
Democratic. There he goes.
There he is. There. Well, you're the host. You should be the big head. You should.
No,
Tren,
not today.
did you get a new webcam or something?
I did not. I just
look
cleaned
better.
off the glass that was on the old.
No doubt. Well, it shows. All right, I can tell. I
have a web somewhere, like an external one.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome in to the
What's
Four
up?
Horsemen. For those of you that may be new, we're going to let these guys introduce themselves, starting with this gentleman to my right, maybe your left, but next to me.
There you go. I'm Pete. I'm the roaming prepper. Started my channel, was a hurricane prepper and blizzard, but I travel a lot, and hence the name roaming prepper. I'm an engineer, and I wind up all over the place. So far, 3 continents, 15 cities in 1 year was my record.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a bit much, to be honest.
And next we have the one, the only, Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? I'm Mike. I am the owner of Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival, and the Livingston man works with me, and we work together, and we come up with some cool stuff for folks. Try to make preparedness entertaining and educational, and hopefully we reach a few people, and somebody doesn't have to come knock on your door when SHTF because they learned some things from us. That's the goal here, and the Livingston man, you're the next up here, buddy.
Yes, indeedy.
If you're new here, see the way Trent just looked to his one side there. He said, "Oh boy, here it comes." Well, it was
And that's okay.
It was a dark November snowy night in 1982, and it was a snowstorm occurring, and Mother said, "Time to go, Dad Livingston." And so legend has it he commandeered a snowplow to actually bring them to the maternity ward, at which time I was assembled and, activated, and I've been a thorn in Mike's side every time. My job here is to always play devil's advocate. I'm always that guy. It's not that I disagree with you. I'm gonna play the part of the guy that does, though. I'm a test your gangster. Okay, are you sure about that little conspiracy theory you're spouting off that I actually, in reality, agree with? But I'm gonna make sure you know what you're talking about, buddy. Okay. Other than that, it's a great honor to be sitting here among greatness right now. I'm the young punk on this. I feel like I'm like
The young punk.
allow me to hang out with
What?
them.
Yeah, well, and now you just really made me feel like the old man because the year you were born, I graduated high school.
I had nothing to do with it. I wasn't there.
I apparently you did. But with that, folks, I'm gonna give y'all some Hudson Valley Prepping and Surviving feature. I'm gonna roll that B footage.
Do it.
I'm Trent, and this is Vision Preparedness. The time is now. time is now.
Word. I feel
Okay,
like I
now.
tuned in and watched the Black Tucker Carlson, bro. That fucking theme music was dope.
That was
Thank you.
pretty epic.
I
And,
love
and
the
I'm lazy because my crazy, lazy cameraman Steve has not created me an intro just for the Four Horsemen. So we're working on that.
Good, man. It's all good. It's all
I,
good.
I love Baby Cole at the end because everyone knows that his head is now bigger than he was his entire puppiness
True.
because his head's like
Yeah.
this big ball of dog.
Yes,
Literally thinking to myself, I'm like, is that the same dog? I'm like, I bet you that's the same
it is.
dog.
Oh, and to give y'all a quick update on Cole, I talked to my breeder last night, and number 2 will be here probably around the first of the year.
Oh,
A boy
snap.
or a girl?
New
A
edition.
boy.
Ooh, are
It's
they
a
going to
boy.
fight?
No, they won't. As
There's
long
no
as there's no female around, they won't
girls to
be.
fight over. They'll
Yeah,
be fun. They'll be fun.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
if
wouldn't
not,
want to.
then
Well, somebody will
Vision,
figure it out.
Vision
yeah.
Preparedness. You have assembled the Four Horsemen here this evening with a purpose in mind, and inquiring minds want to know the
Yes,
purpose.
tonight's topic
For.
during SHTF,
Okay.
how do you prepare to deal with elderly members and or medically challenged members? That is our topic for tonight, gentlemen.
That is a tough one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'll start with this. I will say that the time to prepare for those folks is before SHTF.
Yep.
When calamity is happening, it is not the time to start thinking about these things. As Vision Preparedness says, the time is now.
Yep.
Catchphrase, trademark Vision Preparedness. Do it now. Do it now.
Yeah.
You have to start thinking about these things now because when it happens, if you have to go acquire a wheelchair, it's a little too freaking late to go down to the medical supply store and pick yourself up a
Bye.
wheelchair. It's just not it. You know, the chickens have left the coop. It's not going to happen. So it's really, really important that you start thinking about these people now. And Trent, thank you so much for making this a topic because these are the folks that some people take for granted. You know, the
Mhm.
elderly, we just you know, they're eternal. They've been there forever. They're always going to be there, and everything's always fine with them when you see them. But
Mhm.
this is a big topic, Trent. Thank you for bringing this up tonight.
Absolutely. And that's that's what we
It's
got to do.
devastation and it looks good. Thank you, F Mux.
There he is.
That's better.
It's one of them ones you're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to close this this line of questions. I can't go before anybody else because you ain't gonna be able to follow it.
Well, I think one of the biggest things that that you need to do to get ahead of this, and this goes for folks who are developmentally disabled, as well as physically disabled or elderly, is those medications, man. We all know that the
Yes.
elderly have a pile of medications that keep them running every day. And in order to avoid some serious problems, you need to extend those medications out as long as possible. Some doctors are comfortable with giving a 90-day supply, no questions asked.
Yep.
Some other doctors, you have to say, hey, could you, give me a little bit more because I'm worried that the snowstorms are going to come and I'm not going to be able to get to the pharmacy, and it could leave me without my medications that I require.
Yep.
So I think
Yes.
that's a huge step in the beginning, in the right here and now. If you're thinking more along the lines of after the fact of what kind of purpose do these folks serve, I think that's a whole nother line of questioning because I'm of the mindset of everybody has a place, and
Yep.
there's a job for everybody to do when there's disaster or catastrophe or whatever SHTF scenario you'd like to insert. I think everybody has a job to do at that point,
Yep.
and it's important to find out what people are capable of, and that again that starts in the here and now. And after the fact, man, it's gonna be tough. You got to think about this stuff now.
Yep. And Little Lone Prepper said, I see a lot of things at yard sales, crutches, walkers, wheelchairs, etc. I need to pick up a few things. Yeah.
Yeah.
It might even be you that needs one of them things, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know what's
If
going
I
to
had a
happen.
wheelchair, I mean, I'd be tempted to use it. I mean, I don't care. The disabled want to act offended. Fine, stand up for yourself then.
You're wrong. Oh my
I'm
This
tired
is
of
what
walking.
happens when we let him off
Dude,
script.
I'm tired of walking too. Okay, I do it a lot. You wouldn't know.
You
You
know,
wouldn't know.
to your point about the meds, though, a lot of insurances for maintenance stuff, cholesterol, blood pressure, heart meds, they will do a 90-day script.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
That's
that's never a bad idea. They're actually cheaper that way, depending on your insurance plan, even
Correct.
Medicare, Medicaid.
it's like
Um,
buying in bulk. You know,
Yeah.
well,
Exactly.
essentially, that's exactly what it is.
I mean, you go
And
through an ounce is cheaper than
but
an eighth of time.
you know, you may not you may not have gone through all of the first batch when you get the second. So, you know, it doesn't hurt to have that little buffer, you know, because even having 2 months extra of a med, if something happens, that's 2 months to figure out your next move.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
a lot of what prepping winds up becoming is giving you options and buying time to get a better solution.
Oh, that's a fantastic point, Pete, because it's
Yeah.
people think preparedness is going to save them from everything. If I was just prepared, everything would be fine. But it really is just a buffer, a time buffer between
Yeah.
when things are no longer available and when you have to start sourcing more things. I think that time is
Right.
immediately. As soon as things are no longer available, it's time to start finding another outlet for these things.
Mhm.
A different way to acquire the things that you need to survive, and it's a time thing. It's only buying you some time till you make your next move. It's not a
Yeah.
cure all. Some folks got a year's worth of time. Some folks have a couple weeks. Some folks have a couple months. I mean, you do what the best you can with what you have where you're at.
Yeah. And that's the whole key. You do the best with what you have. And somebody in the chat, I think it was KY Survival, said, learn the herbal equivalent. There's a plant for everything.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And plan now, because
Yeah.
if something happens and you haven't planned, it's too late.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
and also, Pete, you said 90 days. You can also get your prescriptions in 180 days. Also,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
so
Some of the
if
companies
you can do that, folks, do it.
like Jace Medical and there's a couple other companies
Yep.
similar to them. They've expanded their list of medications. They're not just antibiotics anymore. They can
Right.
get you the medications that you need. So check them out, man. They're available. It's not the cheapest thing in the world, especially if you don't have insurance, but medications aren't cheap. So
No, they're
it
not.
is an outlet, and they are available through them. You can talk with a doctor at Jace Medical. It's not just some Yahoo on a computer who sends you pills in the mail. These are board
Right.
certified physicians who really look at your
Yeah.
medical records and give you the medications that you're one already using.
Yeah.
Two are going to need in the long term, antibiotics, man. I had to dig into a Jace case on Christmas Eve to start a treatment of antibiotics for a nasty sinus infection. I wasn't planning for it, but they saved my ass on Christmas Eve from going to the
Right.
emergency room.
He was huffing cedar dust on purpose. But
Hardly on purpose.
and
but
Wait, is cedar dust code for something, or is it
No,
literally
no,
cedar
really
dust?
not. He was,
like
but,
literally cutting cedar.
but because wearing a mask is for liberals and homos, he wouldn't do it. And wouldn't you know it, he got sick.
Go figure. Karma got
Now I gotta say, I'm with a couple people in the chat here. Yardbirds and Yankee Watchdog. Yankee Watchdog talked about, he said I might be on with the Eskimos on this one, where you just put them out on the ice, and then Yardbird said when the SHTF happens, the clock starts ticking. That's it right there.
Mhm.
This is gonna sound harsh because it's what I do. I don't
We're
know.
all waiting.
Is somebody going to have to, just you hand them a loaded pistol and they hold off the enemy while the rest of us escape, kind of thing. Although I did like what the one person said about pair the elderly folks and
Yeah, moon
with the
sprouts.
children.
Yep,
But
perfect.
Yeah.
otherwise, again, even if you get yourself a 180-day supply, whatever life-saving medication you'll die without, you got 6 months, dude.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I'm not acting like this is going to be an easy thing for anybody
No.
to deal with here.
Right.
And but it's you start to be like, how are you prolonging the inevitable? Are you
Mm.
chasing a dragon? I mean, none of us has ever had to ask ourselves this question, so it's all speculation. What would I do?
Mhm.
It'd be easy for me to sit here and be
Yeah,
edgy.
we
Fuck
don't
'em.
know. I mean, yeah, you never
Right.
know.
But
Right.
it's easy to be like, practical considerations aside, I'm sorry, Grandma, you got to go fight them dudes while we get away. You lived your life. I just got here.
You're not wrong, but that's like
But of course, nobody wants to say that.
I would
That's
think
what
that would
I'm
be
here
a
for.
voluntary type thing, kind of like they did in Japan with Fukushima when that thing was melting down. The
Yeah.
older guys stepped up and they said, I've lived a long life. I have to do this to save my country." And they exposed themselves to lethal doses of radiation in most cases, and they were well taken care of by the government and made super comfortable. And
Yankee
Until they
Watchdog is being a fascist or something. Is that what he said? Yeah,
Yankee Watchdog.
facetious.
it's a fascist.
He was being a fascist.
I can
He-
read. Thank you.
He knew exactly what he said. It was
But
more
I-
fun to call him a fascist.
I would think decisions like that would be a little more voluntary, from the older crowd. If they wanted to stay and fend off the pack of wolves while everybody ran away, that's
Tell me that I don't say fascist.
Fac-
Facetious.
No, it's
Fasc-
misspelled, I think.
Fascist.
Facetious. Oh, shoot. Now, none of us know how to spell shit.
I think I knew.
Sounds
I
like
think I know where you were going, Yankee.
No, we know where you were going. It was funny, though.
Yeah.
be
It was funny.
edgy.
But you're also under the assumption that whatever has happened is forever, not an incident with a recovery period or an
Absolutely.
incident with a reorganization, right? Because if you look at the dark ages between Rome and the medieval period, and all these big empires just broke to pieces, but then you wound up having fiefdoms, smaller countries. I could easily see like the Hudson Valley becoming its own little community. You have farming, you have water, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, Terminators running around would be a completely different scenario. But you have a point, even if you're putting it off, the inevitable for 6 months, and Livingston's Blue's just pointing out a potential reality is what it is.
Yeah,
During
if the
those,
power goes out for 3 days, I'm not like sending my mother upriver, dude. You know what I mean?
no, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
like,
think about it. If it was any of us, we were the elder. I'd be like, look, I got 5 months of meds. So in this next 5 months, get the kids and the young ones. I'm going to teach them everything I can think of before
Right.
I go. And then just
Yep.
make me comfortable. And if the zombies come,
I'll deal
that
with the
point, it would
zombies
be-
and y'all leave. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep. I'll take my 2 days worth of pills and put me up against this tree with a 1911.
Exactly. And give me as many rounds and magazines as I can carry and hold. Yeah.
I'm of the adage of never give up, and I would search the corners of the globe for medication to save any one of my people. I would turn over every stone and look through every abandoned building to find this
Right.
stuff for them.
Yep.
So when all hope is lost, those decisions have to be made. But
Yeah.
And it's also assuming we don't find an alternative,
Exactly.
an herbal alternative. You may find a different medication that's more shelf. There are a lot of variables. Like
Absolutely.
as Lou said, we're purely speculating. We may run across, somebody who's like, oh, you know what? If you mix, this weed with this flower, and guess what? It lowers blood pressure. Well, that might be worth a try. It may or may not work, but
Absolutely. You found yourself some new tea, I see. Yeah, you're going to have that every day now, aren't you?
Right.
or they're
Right.
feeling good, one or the other,
Yeah.
And the whole key is make them as comfortable as possible.
Absolutely.
you know. And we all talk about having, medical gear and this and that and tourniquets and this and that. Well, what if it's something as simple as an IV?
Yeah.
Well, sure, and tourniquets don't help with glaucoma, or
Right,
arthritis and things
Exactly.
like
correct.
this.
But
Right.
there are several herbal remedies that do.
Oh yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
why it's important to know what the alternative medications are. I don't
Yep.
care if you have a book that's this thick that has a list of all the herbs and all of that. You may want to start looking at that and gathering those things and
Mhm.
drying them out and having those
Get ahead of the
just in
curve.
case,
Or
Okay,
growing them if
yeah,
they're easy to
or
grow.
grow them. Yeah.
I'm gonna warn y'all though. Don't just be going on YouTube and be like medicinal herbs, because one,
No.
all they're gonna show you is fucking weed with names they made up out of nowhere. Like, oh, this is blah, blah, blah. Why did it do that?
I
Oh
don't.
man, I did the thing. Don't stop looking
Hey,
at me.
man, that's my job.
Oh.
Why? Sorry, the camera took matters
Yeah.
into its own hands.
Death is
man.
here making
Yeah,
cameras.
death,
I can
exactly.
make things happen with my hands too, dude.
See what he
See?
just did again?
Wait, Mike, do the same thing. Maybe the camera will go back to him.
Is that what I
No,
gotta
it'll
do?
go back to him.
I gotta wave over here.
No.
Oh,
There
see?
we go. See, look at that. Y'all
Look at
over there
that.
showing off.
It's out of
So if you
control.
both wave, does it catch fire? I mean,
The robots have taken over.
It's a AI camera. It shows who it wants.
It's
Apparently,
become self-aware, and
if I try to give it away from him, it'll just go back.
what do you gotta do? You gotta give it the
Nope,
old.
that zooms in.
Oh, no, we don't want
Hold
to
your
do
hand
that.
up. Stop.
Okay, just like
do
this.
that,
Until
and it gives you a
There you
5.
go.
see, it doesn't even listen. It
Yeah,
doesn't
it did.
listen.
It did.
Yeah.
I
Stop
don't
showing.
know. You can
Oh.
flip it the bird and see if it does something. I don't know.
That makes it.
That just gives it to the viewers.
Yeah.
Oh.
That automatically
And
triggers.
by the way, for those of y'all on Rumble, thank y'all for joining us on Rumble because
Yeah,
we're
thank you.
simulcast.
Good. Okay,
Yes.
you Rumble people are the ones I want to talk to, because I went to your website and I got bombarded with ads for ivermectin and all the damnedest conspiracy shit. And this was the point of my what I was trying to say is careful. Okay, what you want to do is look up research the plants themselves. Don't ask freaking some weirdo with purple hair and a fucking nose ring what medicinal herbs are good for you. Find out what the indigenous peoples of the area you live in. Because rainforest plants ain't gonna help you Americans. I'm sorry to tell you.
It's true.
But all the indigenous peoples had, what we would consider to be medical treatments for a vast array of the afflictions. They exist. They've been suppressed by big pharma because they can't have you growing your own medicine, bro. You got to buy it from them. But you got to know what you're dealing with. Don't listen to God damn it, 7/8 of these crackheads out here on the YouTube talking shit just so you like
7/8.
Yeah. And that's
Don't
true, folks. Do your homework, do your own research,
That's a big one.
multiple sources, plain and simple.
I think the best thing that you said there, Livingston Man, is that
crackheads. Yeah.
that was
Haven't
that was
used
that
that
was a
one.
good one.
Crackheads is a good one, actually.
That was a good
We
one.
agree on that.
Um,
Thumbs up.
I think
It's underused anymore.
it's an herb that grows in the rainforest is not going to help me here in upstate New Yorkistan.
Right.
It's great that grows in the rainforest, but I need something that grows here locally to me, something that I can find, something that I can harvest, something that I could do something with. So, like Livingston Man said, local, be local, be local.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, follow rabbit holes, man. I mean, do your research, get in there, learn your shit. It is real, but bad actors out there be just trying to sell you things, man. And you got to be easy with that. It's not the movement. It's not
You
the
know where you could learn about local plants, and you just said it and it popped in my head. Farmers market. There's usually a master gardener or two in there, and just ask them, hey, what works for inflammation? What's a good, I don't know, natural pain remedy? Because I don't want to take this big pharma stuff. I guarantee you, someone there will be like, oh, you know what? If I don't know, you boil acorns or something, it relieves inflammation of the joints. I don't. By the way, that's not medical advice. I have no idea if acorns will get rid of inflammation. I'm just making an example there.
I do. I am a doctor, and yes, they will. Go ahead. Boil them down. They're already
Doctor.
buying ivermectin fucking off the Rumble ads, bro. Say what you
Oh
want.
God, that's terrible.
I eat, sleep, and breathe ivermectin. Look at what it does to you.
Don't you agree?
Orion Preparedness, good to see you. He said the best medicine is grown in your garden. It's called prevention.
Yes.
Yeah.
It could be said that modern American diet is actually the cause of half the afflictions we suffer.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Especially the
on that,
high blood pressure, heart disease. It's all
God.
based on the shit we eat. It has to be. It is. So you start there, and that comment fits perfect with that. When you're growing your own food, you know what's in it, you know where it came from, who's shitting it and did whatever. I don't have a problem with shitting my food. I just want to know who did it.
Right. And here's the thing.
If it's a
I saw
listeria
something
from my garden, I know it's my fault.
Yeah. I heard a great comment today. It said 90% of the foods in our grocery stores were not around 90 years ago.
I believe it.
And 90 years ago, the diseases that are in this world now were not around also.
There was no obesity until like
exactly.
sodas. Remember the soda wars
sugars,
in the 80s? That
when they switched to high fructose corn syrup because it cost
High
too
fructose
much money to put all that.
That's
sugar
why
in.
they kept changing the flavors of the Cokes and the Pepsis was to throw everyone off. So they could change. Because if you know where it went bad in Texas, because we could go over the border to freaking Mexico and we come back with the little Mexican Cokes and we drink those, and you drink one and it's like, wow, that was great. I don't want any more.
Right. Cocaine.
And that's all I drink is the Mexican.
That's the Colombian Coca-Cola. That's different.
That's the original formula.
That's the original formula.
The original formula.
Like, oh, I have a toothache. You drink that, and now everything feels good.
You used to have to buy that shit at the doctor's office.
But don't take peyote. You will not have a good experience with that at all.
No, you don't want to do peyote. Please don't.
You've seen all those Aztec paintings with all the colors and like the armadillos are glowing. That's what you see, and I would not want to see that at all.
If you take peyote, you will see sound.
Yeah. I don't need to see my corgis like doing disco lights out of their eyes. I would be done. I'd have to leave the house. I'd be like, nope.
Yeah.
I have, perhaps unique among us have been there, what you're talking about. And look what it does to you.
But the question is, did you see the armadillo?
I was the armadillo.
You were the RC. There you go.
I was looking at you.
I'm telling you, man. Nobody needs to be an armadillo. That's terrible.
Okay, so I want to see you roll up in the ball then.
I don't want to see that. That would be the four drunks of the apocalypse. I mean, that's not quite what we.
Yes, that's right, Orion. He said turmeric is great for inflation. We grow it in our garden. Absolutely, inflammation.
Sprinkle some turmeric on the damn economy, then.
Yeah, please. Yeah,
Livingston.
Exactly.
I just missed you guys is all. Oh
God.
Plus we're on Tren.
I'm trying to get us back on track. I truly am.
It's getting a little too popular out here.
Okay. So let's get on to our handicap friends, shall we?
So back to me. I'll shut up. Go ahead. It's called disabled, bro. Thank you.
I can't right now. I can't. You're right. It's this
the handicap I got's on the golf course, homeboy. You can't beat me.
You know something? Something we had mentioned when I did that real short video like a month ago about the bollards they were putting in the middle of the parking lots so the kids wouldn't do, road racing up and down these big parking lots. Your architecture is an important prep too. If you know, you have to plan in advance. You're like, well, my uncle has a walker or wheelchair. Well, do you have a ramp you can put in your house so that person get into the house if they needed to? Is the door big enough? Even little things like that, knowing which door would accommodate a walker or a person on crutches would be an important, something to think about in advance.
Exactly.
I feel that. I think there's probably at least two schools of that. Somebody in the chat just called it defensive architecture.
Yeah.
I would almost call area denial. Perhaps, Pete, you're a veteran, correct?
Yep.
Right. So you understand,
Yeah.
kill box.
It would be a hostile architecture, but
right.
Yeah.
the
Whereas
other
you
way.
are forcing them to come one way, and that's the only way. So you're either denying certain areas, like Mike brought up one time about planting rose bushes. They
Yeah.
look very
yeah.
innocuous, very innocuous. Oh, that's such a beautiful rose bush. But go ahead and try to climb in the window that rose bush is in front of you. Ass ain't gonna make it.
No. And
And
then we get
it's
the
also,
damn wasps in them here, and yeah, you get a bonus.
right. I mean, how much is my flat screen TV worth to you? You're gonna come in over that, and then you force them to come away where they're either observed or directly confronted. You want to think about this because if you're the bug in type of person, you're not going anywhere. You're going to
Right.
need to do something like this. Or we talked about a gray house on the a previous
Yes.
version, where or you got to make your shit look like there ain't nothing here to worry about. Like people keep moving. If that's not the plan, you got to make it so that you can defend what you got. Now you go setting up barbed wire and searchlights and all this other shit. Like people can be looking like what they got in there. And it needs
Okay,
to be
there is a house in the country that literally has over 30 cameras and searchlights. I got to go and take a picture of it and post it.
Yeah.
now
It's the damnedest things I've ever seen.
to a motivated group of individuals that might become a target regardless of its
Right.
Yeah,
alleged
just as a challenge.
impregnability. Just what
Yeah.
because
Right.
they obviously got
Right.
something in there.
Well, to your point, for instance, if you have, say, you have a threshold that has, has the bump on it, so a wheelchair might have a challenge going through, you do kind of, again, going to the military, like a deployable ramp, you can just flop open, they come over,
Yep.
but then you retract it and take it away. So someone passing by later will
No.
not see this ramp and they won't know. Because if they see a handicap ramp, there'll be somebody in there can't walk or is in a wheelchair. This
Easy
may be
target.
an easier target.
Yep.
But if they don't see those signs, if you can put it out for, bringing people in or out and then remove that ramp or remove those rails so it looks like every other house, it goes back to the gray house.
Right.
But at the same time, you're not highlighting, oh, hey, somebody disabled lives here.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they're not going to go break into my son, the MP's house, because they'll kick the crap out of him and
Nope.
throw him off the window. No, they're going to go, oh, look, the old lady with her walker and her little ramp. That's an easy target.
Yep.
Right.
Now back to our overall topic, based on what Pete said. The elderly left alone or vulnerable will become targets because people do this thing where they're mad shitty when something bad happens.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like burglars, raiders, they're not looking for a fight. And they will target a place they think they won't find one.
Absolutely.
Unless it was my uncle. He was 94. He still owned an M1 Garand.
Hey.
He was a
Yeah.
Korean. He was, okay, the old man from Gran Torino.
Yeah.
If you make a Puerto Rican accent, that was my uncle.
That's my spirit animal. I wasn't. Okay, but I dismissed Gran Torino because I am both Ebert and Siskel. I dismissed it. I'm like, so this movie is just literally Clint Eastwood talking. He just walks around asking minorities what they're looking at. It's the point of the movie, but I was like, this is what he does the whole time.
No, they were all like that. Those old men in growing up, good Lord. And they would do it to each other. That was what was funny. But, some old folks would be like, YOLO, if I'm going out, I'm going to show you some old school warfare.
Yeah.
And, they come out with that M1 rifle. Nobody wants that. I mean, forget your AR-15. This thing will remove entire limbs if it hits you the right way. So have fun with that, guy.
We've also, there's just the audible, what's the word? Where you get wrong house, asshole.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you gotta do.
Everybody speaks that language.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you speak. You know what's being said when somebody racks a shotgun.
And it doesn't matter who's holding it. I don't care if the 3-year-old's holding it. I would shit my pants worse if a toddler was holding it. I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna get blasted. This kid's a sociopath. He doesn't even have morals yet.
Right. Right.
He watched Yosemite Sam. I just need to run at this point.
Yeah, they watch violent cartoons all their life. Why not?
Call of Duty since the day they were born or before, possibly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not worried about it. They're gonna Fortnite. They're gonna teabag you when they're done with you. T-pose on your
But folks, this is something we all have to think about.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know,
It's a big,
how like Livingston man alluded to, are you going to sacrifice the elderly while everybody else tries to move to the next location?
hmm
because you can do
I'm
that maybe
not.
once, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
no.
not.
Again, everybody has something that they can offer. Uh,
Hmm.
Moon Sprouts alluded to the old folks, passing on the knowledge to the kids,
Yes.
and maybe at some point your kids would be able to teach you something because they learned from grandma. You know what I mean?
It's gonna be grandma, grandpa. I hate to
Yeah.
interrupt. It's gonna be
But
them. In a situation like we're speculating here. This is again all speculation. Ain't nobody experts in what do you do
hmm
when this happens? Because
mhm,
fortunately enough, none of us have had to deal with this yet.
Amen.
Uh,
mhm.
but though it's gonna be the elderly people. No, it's not. Grandma needs me to teach her how to use the Twitter. I need grandma to teach me how to fucking make a blanket, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll sacrifice. Listen, you talking to me? I'll sacrifice. Fuck them
Well,
kids. They can fight the zombies off. They crazy. They're crazy. They don't care. They'll probably
but they
take out
play Fortnite in twos.
Yeah.
teabagging the zombies.
I was
And
waiting for it.
smuggle grandma away so she can teach us to make blankets. I don't know. I mean, I'll trade the knowledge over these punk ass kids. I mean, we can make more
Yeah.
of them.
Oh yeah. Well, also you figure a lot of the older folks lived in a different. I mean, we're not young, the four of us, but
Mm.
they're folks who we would consider senior to us, who
Yeah.
lived in a time, 40s, 50s, 60s, where what we take for granted just wasn't
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
And their understanding of how to live with less can be absolutely invaluable.
It'll be
Um,
essential. We're gonna all have to learn that. You go find your local old person and go chill with them like right now
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
before they're gone, dude. They know stuff you
Yeah.
couldn't possibly imagine.
And that's the whole key. I don't want to lose that generational knowledge.
Mm.
And honestly, they're invaluable because
Yeah.
they would be key and crucial in bringing back
Yeah. The old ways.
our so-called civilization.
hmm
Yeah.
it's almost funny that when you think about it societally, they're always saying, "Oh, well, this generation doesn't like that generation," and in reality, it shouldn't be between. They're different. You should just
Yeah.
accept everyone's different and sit and
Right.
learn from one another. And
Yeah.
it's more. It gets more clicks
Well put.
with the drama, but why shouldn't the Gen Z techie kid go and say, "Hey, grandma, how do you make bread?"
Yeah.
Right.
Because
Like,
it comes from
okay,
the store. What do you mean you make bread?
Yeah.
yeah, show them how to make
How do I
bread.
grow?
Exactly.
How do I grow a tomato plant? That's something super easy that you can get kids started with gardening and things like that. The easy ones, man. The
Oh yeah,
things that grow like wildfire.
And yeah, something that gives an immediate result. Kids are not patient. Um,
yeah,
Yeah.
but whatever it is, cooking, a musical instrument, a second language,
yep.
racism, uh, children learn it best when they're young. You can't teach an old dog new trick. He's like, "Why'd you say racism?" You know why I said racism? Because it's taught. No
Mm.
It is.
child is
I
racist.
agree. I agree.
So
It's
And
wait,
taught.
so my uncle was
with the children,
racist to everybody, including other Puerto Ricans. So wasn't he like just an a-hole at that point?
he's a bigot. He
But
just
I
a
think it's
hater.
beyond like,
Hater.
isn't
He's
there
a
another level?
yeah hater.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
was just an a-hole. He didn't like anybody.
He's like, look at this fucking guy.
And he
But
cursed
you
at
know,
him in different languages. It was fun.
if you're a person that's got the children's and you are a subscriber to this lifestyle, then I assume you're probably already teaching them and bringing them along, and that's great. And I'm gonna also assume that it was your parents that got you in that mindset. Maybe not though. Maybe you just witnessed someone else's misfortune or a national or global catastrophe. You said, "Hey man, maybe I should pack some things." Regardless, whatever it is you want to teach your kids, you got to do it. The younger they are, the more it's more normal to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially things like gardening and
Mhm.
firearms. I'm not an expert here, but speaking from personal example and everybody I know, we was all taught to shoot guns at a young age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Firearm discipline is built into my DNA because it was one of my core upbringing, fundamental things of my upbringing. When that is not the case, when it's like, here you go, my little Call of Duty soldier, here's your brand new AR-15, and they promptly go and blast up the fucking school, it's because they didn't have that
Yeah.
ingrained.
Yeah. No, 100%. I mean, when the boys were little, it was okay. We literally bought a Red Ryder, and I had a little thing that would hold sporting clays, basically like a disc, and I just set them up, and I'd be okay. Get your safety glasses on, okay, and I'd put it against the wall or whatever, and be like, okay, shoot those. And that's when I realized my youngest son, even though he's left-handed, was right-eye dominant. I was like, you can't play baseball as good as you do and not hit that from 10 feet away. Like, clearly I've done something wrong. But, those little skill sets,
Yeah.
and both of them wound up in the military, and they did really well because their whole childhood. And both of them, ironically, told me, Dad, when we went through basic, we had seen, I bought an AR and I showed them just before they left for basic. This is how you tear it down. This is the cleaning. I had an M9, so they changed the pistol since, but taught them all the basics. So when they went in, they're like, yeah, I know how to take apart the Beretta. I know how to take apart the rifle. And they did really well. And the sergeant even told them, they're like, you guys have handled this platform before. Like, yes, sir. Yes, sergeant. They knew. But they were taught from 6, 7 years old.
It gets ingrained into you, and it's those building blocks that all of the rest of the fundamentals are based upon. I think
I use gas-powered power tools on a daily basis for work. But even when I'm holding a leaf blower, a chainsaw, weed eater, whatever, my finger looks like this unless I'm doing it. And I walk around like doing it. It's I don't even think about it. It's just there.
The screw gun.
Yep.
Finger discipline.
Yeah.
The first gun I ever fired in my life at the tender age of 9 was a double barrel shotgun that was longer than me. And my grandfather stood behind me and he said, this is going to kick, but don't be scared. Man, I pulled that trigger and next thing I know, I was like, but he was right there. He caught me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Trent saw colors and everything. Woo!
Exactly. I'm sitting there thinking, the world blew up, but that's how we learn.
And there wasn't even things like we wore glasses, but ear protection that they didn't even have that. Then
you get the booey.
Yeah, you don't even really hear it. It just goes beep. First time I fired 12 gauge, the same deal. Bluey, like holy cow! I mean, I was all like,
Kablooey.
Man, the first 22 was as tall as I was. Like, couldn't barely hold the damn thing.
But now. I was teaching my son how to shoot, so, and he's good. And he thought he was John Wick. So the next time he came over to the house, he said, let's shoot, Dad. I said, okay, we'll go out there and see what you remember. Didn't even hit the target.
Yep.
And he was like, what happened? I said, you need to practice, Mr. Wick.
Yep.
To gain that muscle memory.
Yep. Yeah. Perishable skills, man. There's so
exactly.
Nasvidanya, Mr. Wick.
Yeah. So we got done, and I looked at him, and I said, Jonathan, and my son is a miniature me, but bigger, and he looked at me and he said, Winston.
He didn't miss a beat with that one.
No, he didn't. He sure didn't. He looked at me and he said, Winston.
But to y'all's point, those skills, even though we teach them, somebody taught us, and having, even though I lost my dad, it's been a while now. I really wish those last few years he had taken up my offer to come live with us. Because I think it would have been an experience for them to just hear. He was a Great Depression kid. Like, he had me late in life. Yeah. So hearing him say, oh, yeah, they used to sink we'd see the freighters catch fire offshore because the U-boats would torpedo them. And he was a little boy, and he remembers seeing the boats on fire
That's
Wow.
wild.
and at night. And I'm like, that just blew my mind that he actually just stuff we read about.
Yeah. Yeah. You actually saw
Yeah.
it.
But
That's crazy.
the elderly, the older generations, folks, those people are critical. And I personally think during an SHTF event, we have to do everything possible to retain not only them but their knowledge as well. And God forbid if we have to get to the point where we literally are rebuilding society.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What we know, and I mean the four of us and everybody in the chat, what we know. But the generations that came after us, they may not know none of it.
No,
Yep. Yep. I mean,
So we need those grandparents and uncles and aunts to teach
you
those that came after us.
you bring up a good point, and I think also, at some point the four of us may be the elderly, we may be
Right.
the disabled.
Yep.
We knowing this, because we know a lot more now, we kind of understand how things go. We have a responsibility to ourselves and to the ones we love to try to be as healthy as we can, right? We can't fix everything, right? There's some stuff will
Right.
just happen by nature, but be active, try to eat right, try not to do too much of the dumb things. Although, I suffered for a hangover for 2 days drinking with a bunch of 30-year-old Marines, which was stupid. But
Hang on,
I
let me just
clearly
correct
cannot
you.
do that.
Hang
It
on.
was great at the time, but trying to keep ourselves fit, ourselves mentally fit and physically, so that we're not a liability to the ones coming after us is also important.
Exactly. That's
And
that's
we
huge.
know so much more. We should really leverage that in the way we live, to try, not that we don't all have one vice or another, but
Right.
try to be that person that our kids are not like, oh crap, I gotta go get Grandpa Trent, because they're like, no, Grandpa Trent, if anyone's gone near him, they're in that gully behind the property,
He's the one
or
over there pulling the
or
chains,
yeah,
blowing up
Uncle
half
Pete
the
took him
mountain.
out to the desert somewhere, and the coyotes
Yeah.
got what's left of him.
Yeah.
We don't want to be the liability. At least I don't. I've told my son that.
I
I'm
don't
like,
either.
I don't want to be the liability. I
Mhm.
want to be an asset to you. So we also, all of us in the chat and the four of us, should take ownership of that and say, you know what, I'm going to try to at least live a better direction so
Yep.
that I don't burden you guys. And we can't foresee anything, right? One of us could have a car wreck, God forbid.
Yep.
That
Oh,
can change an equation. Things happen.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people would say this, and I'll say it too, is that if I am cognizant of the fact that I am like holding everybody back and I'm the fucking ball and chain here, the anchor. Listen, just give me like a handful of grenades, dude. I can
Yep.
just like get the hell out of here. Like
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I can't
yeah.
Yeah.
walk. And to the point of losing generational knowledge, you called it.
Hmm.
So much of everyone's history. I don't care who you are. Of course, like the Vikings and the Native Americans, and everyone gets a lot of credit of their sagas and the passed down oral history.
Hmm.
But we all have that to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Imagine if like
Yeah.
all that was gone. Imagine if you were so ignorant that you just refused or just didn't learn anything from your parents, or I suppose your parents never tried to teach you anything. You just what would you end up? You'd be feral. You'd have no concept of how to human, if I
Yeah.
may.
Yeah. It's
That's
true.
a good way to put it.
In the book Jurassic Park, I often quote books. The raptors, the big scary freaking clicking the
Yeah.
claws, scary
Yeah.
dinosaurs. Now they were in the books portrayed the way they were is because their instinctual knowledge was cut off.
Hmm.
Millions of years of evolution, yes, but we're not born and raised by parents per se
Mm.
that were able to pass on that whatever it is that happens through instinct. And so the things were just out of control, feral creatures with no concept of even how to do what they were supposed to do.
Mm.
Hmm.
Without that general knowledge, that's what humans will become. And I don't know if you've seen these fucking kids these days, but that is what I'm talking about.
Mm.
That's I can't disagree with you.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, you can't gentle parent feral kids. You have to
No. No.
firm parent feral kids so that they'll become strong kids.
Yes. Now, I am not a parent, so guess what, fuckers? I get to say this because I get to see all yours. Think outside the box. Now, gentle parenting. Okay, this whole thing. My children are my friends. Just that I don't want them to hate me. People say, I won't raise my children the way my parents raised me, but yet you turned out pretty good, didn't you? So, what's actually the problem? I wouldn't do what they did, and that's why your kids are the way they are. Thank you. I'm here all week.
I've
Oh
heard
no, I
us
couldn't agree more.
before that if you don't raise your kids, you will end up having to raise your grandkids.
That's right.
That's very
It's
true.
it's important
And you can
to
look that up because that's the norm in America today.
well,
Yep.
unfortunately, and it sucks, but it is what it is. Jake Creature.
See, and look what happens. You weren't in his life when he was a kid. You neglected him, and now he's this feral, literal creature.
I'm done. I'm done. I am
Okay, so
done.
ring the bell, because you know what?
Yes.
We need a fart horn too, not just the bell.
I'm done.
Oh Lord.
And that's the thing. I told my kids, except for Jay Creature, because I wasn't in his life. I told my kids, I said, I'm your father, not your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I say goes.
I always want to be friends with my kids. I always want their first thought when something's wrong to be,
Yes.
oh shit,
Yep.
I have to call dad.
Yep.
I don't want them to be afraid to come to me regardless of the situation. So
Yep.
When I was on some bullshit, ask mom. When I needed help, when I'm like in trouble, when I'm scared,
call dad. Yeah, call
dad. Yeah, that's how my son is.
Mm.
Every time when he would get in trouble, not often, but he would like, call my dad, please.
Yeah, if my kids need something done, they call dad.
Now, I should clarify, in case she's watching this show, that my father was not the fucking coolest dude in the world. Some Russian scientist and turned screws and bolts. My mother practically raised me by herself completely, sacrificed everything, did
Hell yeah, mom.
walked through hell to, look what it does to you. Look what I did to her is more like what I should say. Women are statistically stronger, more patient, and simply better at adversity than men are. And I don't care what y'all want to talk shit in the comments about. It's just a fact. Because without your mother, your ass wouldn't be shit.
Well, you wouldn't even be here without your mother. So.
Starting with that.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So, but men are, sort of, I don't have a grudging relationship with the memory of my father, okay? I'm an asshole. But I often, draw on the memories of the things he taught me. He taught me things my mother didn't.
Right.
So we could also start to point to the whole, single mother, single father trend that happens. Something is missing in the equation for these younglings these days. They're missing half the equation, and I don't want to be too offensive, but what happens is, children raised by men are too masculine, and children raised by women are too feminine, like whatever the hell that all means, because there isn't the balance. Let's talk about history, Pete.
Yeah.
The Spartans used to make them go live with the men for 7 years, and then they come back and live with the women for 7 years, and in the society, but I wasn't there. And clearly it didn't work because there ain't no Spartans walking around. So
that was broken.
Yeah, but they tried it, and I guess it worked. No, I just went to school with that dude. He's not my dad, bro. He's dating my mom, or at least he claimed that. But so did every other bully.
Whatever, Rook.
You just don't get it, do you?
Folks.
But it's interesting that this turned from the elders, but it ended up being contrasted with the youngers.
Yeah.
And so what I'll leave us with, and I promise I'll shut up and not say nothing else crazy. It's up to us middlings to fucking make sure that that gap ain't never get broke. Because if that chain
Yeah.
gets broke, then we end up feral creatures like Jay, and you've seen him.
Well
The
said.
kids in the mall.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And that's the key, like I tried to tell my ex-wife. I said, with our son, I said, one thing you will never be able to do is to teach him how to be a man. Just like I can't teach our daughter how to be a lady, but I can be the measuring stick for the man that she should be looking for. Just like my ex-wife is the measuring stick for the kind of woman that my son should be looking for. So, but yes, it takes two, regardless. I don't care.
Yep.
Because there has to be that balance. And if not, like you said, you end up like Jay
Well,
Preacher.
there's
And I'm
also
sorry.
a case where, I had a bit of the reverse case from what Livingston described. And my dad was a very good teacher. He didn't help me with any like the woman stuff, but he was patient enough to explain things. And then one day he even told me, I saw him talking to neighborhood kids who I knew came from bad houses. Like, dad was a drunk, abusive. I mean, clearly bad stuff that today you'd call the cops on, but 30 years ago that was not our business, right?
Right.
And I asked him, why do you talk to those kids so much? He said, because sometimes fathers and mothers aren't worth a shit. So it's a man's responsibility to direct the young ones in his circle in the right direction. And a lot of them wound up enlisting. That was his default advice. Go to college, go join the army, and go overseas. But that stuck with me. He told me that I must have been about 13, and that absolutely stuck with me. And I can't tell you how many of my kids' friends have come to me and my wife because they couldn't come home and talk to their parents because they were scared or there was no parent and they didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So to your point about that chain, where we are right now in our lives, we have a unique opportunity to affect both sides.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And my dad was similar, but my dad we started out, he was a juvenile probation officer. Okay?
That's a tough crowd.
So kids in the neighborhood that we didn't know or know of then would come up to us and say, is your last name blah, blah, blah. And, me and my brothers are like looking at each other like, okay, y'all, we getting ready to scrap with these guys. And one of my brothers or one of us would say yes. And those kids would say, tell your dad thank you. Because he kept my brother from going to prison for the rest of his life. And that's the impact that, we grew up with. We had guys that, we're getting ready to get jumped or get in a fight. The older kids would step in and say, no, you not messing with these boys. You're not going to mess with them. Or you're going to have to mess with us, And that's when I was just learning how to do that.
I was just going to say that's where he got the power.
Exactly. So, yeah. But folks,
I'm feeling better when I go
we have to take care of our elderly, older, even medically challenged people during SHTF. We have to.
Big time.
And honestly,
but like Livingston Man said, I'm going to be the guy that said, okay, here, give me, an AR, a grenade, 3 grenades, y'all go. I'm going to hold them off till y'all get away, and then I'm blowing up everything. That's just me.
I'm done. When I'm done, I'm done.
I'm built like that.
Yeah. We can't let that generational chain get broken. And
right.
I love the idea of mentor figures that aren't necessarily like your biological parents. You have those too. That's what needs to happen. So you're not a father, then then fill that role if presented to you for someone. Just because you're not like this kid's father, maybe you don't know that kid feels like you
take you two guys, right? Hudson Valley. You guys go to the woods. You guys do your semi-annual get-togethers. You get a college kid comes in and goes, "I saw you on YouTube. I don't know how to prep," and he has a tent and a backpack with like an MRE in it. Hey, great time to mentor. It's never too
Oh, yeah.
late, right? Grab the
Yep.
kid. All right, let's go through your
Tear your
bag.
bag
Let's see
apart.
what you got.
The younger
And
you get a hold of them, the more moldable they are.
Absolutely.
but
They're
sometimes they do have an epiphany at an
Clever.
older age, though. Something will happen and the lights will come on. Got you demonetized. That's awesome.
Right. You didn't have to do that.
I can
got you covered.
I
bro.
can get that taken from you too if you want. And saving up.
Oh,
I'll
good.
waste
Thank
your
you
time.
for the donation.
They're gonna
Oh, no.
take
Forever, how
away.
long it'll be there. But I appreciate that, Hudson Valley.
Gonna
You
end
know
up
better than
owing
that.
you
But
cheap
thank
money
you, my
after
brother.
this.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, hopefully they just don't send you a bill in the mail, and if they do,
Well, they may. Who
you have the
knows?
Livingston man's
knows?
email address. You
Livingston man tax.
just-
Sorry. Everybody gets that. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated.
Folks,
I-
this is why I hang out with these guys, because with all the turmoil, mayhemicness, and buffoonery going on in the world, where else can you sit back and literally have a serious conversation and laugh during the conversation?
Yeah.
It's important to me. I always thought so. I clown, but I do it because
Thank you, Jay Creature.
people, you got to laugh, man. Even in the face of adversity, that's the most defiant thing you can do.
Laugh right in their face.
I've been here before. You don't scare me. All right. And that's kind of what it is. It's, and
Yep.
maybe it's even a coping mechanism for my own anxieties and what have you about the world in front of us all. But listen, man, just laugh. It feels a hell of a lot better than just about anything else.
Yep.
Yes.
And plan for this. We're barely touching. I mean, we could do a 3-hour video on this.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Easy.
Absolutely.
Start thinking about it now. Do I have a disabled person? Does someone need maintenance meds? Are there alternatives I can grow in my garden? Do
Yeah.
your homework. Do it now, not when, oh, look, there's attack helicopters over town with little
Yep,
red
and
stars on them. That's
Google doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So
Right.
do it now,
You know,
guys.
and please do not give grandma an RPG. Okay.
Well, now
Just
I'm
don't
doing
do it.
giving her two. Matter of fact, listen, dual wield these shits, man. Listen, it's a win-win.
God. No, I married that girl who will be that grandma who will go
Yeah.
out with a long gun and go, oh, I'm going to shoot your ass.
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah. And if you do give grandma that's perfectly fine.
Chance, grandpa ice cream or grandma ice cream over there with an RPG.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Grandma ice cream with RPG.
And
Absolutely.
just remember, Nana don't take no shit.
So they're gonna learn. They're gonna get a
You
real
got that right.
a real FAFO lesson that day. If there are any survivors, it's like, yo, we ain't never fucking with old people again, dude. They got RPG. Old folks don't give a fuck.
Oh no! You try and kick in the door of a Vietnam vet. Oh no!
Oh, God.
You'd be lucky if you made it through the front yard and like the booby traps didn't get you.
Oh yeah, no, you're trying to run away and they're pulling you back in the house.
Yes.
We'd all be looking out our window. Oh damn! They broke into Tommy's house. They shouldn't have done that.
Oh, yep. Somebody get a
All right,
trap.
we got a couple of minutes. Grab your bags.
That's right. And he's on fire.
Got shots you on purpose and then just drinks a beer while you scream. Like, not
Yeah,
cool,
they're
man.
wrong.
Or him and grandma sitting on the porch and he says, "Here, dear, hold my beer for me. I'll be right back."
Do you want me to shoot, honey? Honey, do you want me to shoot? No, hold that. We only got 2 of those RPGs. Right, just wait. You don't want to maybe use that on a vehicle or something.
Yeah, hold that down.
Let me get the mortar from the backyard.
Yeah. But seriously, folks, this was something that we had to talk about.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it because, although, my mom is still mobile, I mean, she gets in there with them grands and I'm telling y'all, you better leave grandma alone. And she will, walk in there and get with them quick.
Yep.
And she is far from being inoperable. I'll say that. because that pink hard Avon brush still exists that she used on me and my brothers.
Where'd she even keep that? She ain't got no pockets. Where'd she pull that from?
I know. You just
Exactly.
when you see it, you walk past it, and you just, oh god.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
I feel like my mother is the woman. We could give her the RPG. She'd be like, "What do you want me to shoot?"
What do you want me to shoot?
Her last words would be something like "fuck them," which is back to my point about women. Don't underestimate them, especially in
Yeah.
adversity. You
Oh,
can be
man.
you can be glad. Women are in your circle, your clique, your group, whatever your community,
Yeah.
because they're gonna outclass you men because of their ability to stay cool under fire. Without military training, men have trouble with this. Women are born with it.
And keep in mind, folks, the most dangerous animal in the world is a mama bear protecting her cub, and I don't think that's just to the bear species.
That's a unalived yourself mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jay Creature, I'm so sorry I missed out on your youth. I truly am. And I'm sorry. Okay.
Man, we are really patching up some things here today. Isn't this
Yeah,
beautiful, you guys?
This is
is
wholesome
good.
Father and
AF.
son
Wholesome
reconciliation. I believe it too. And you know, Jay Creature must have went to like some like liberal university based on that whole trans thing he's got going on, but it's not his fault. His father wasn't there.
What time? It's an hour. Folks, you know what?
Let it go before he keeps talking.
Yeah. Well,
Tomorrow,
Vision,
Yeah.
tomorrow somebody will be suspended. We'll be, see what we did.
Exactly. So if you folks don't see my channel tomorrow,
yeah, the
Come
20 bucks
subscribe
didn't
to
go
mine,
far
all you
enough.
bastards.
yeah.
All
I
right, Vision.
appreciate y'all. These guys, I'm gonna let y'all three have the last words, hopefully.
Man, I had enough.
And we're gonna let you fine folks go. But I do want to say this, folks. We appreciate you guys and thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Because I have been reunited with my long lost son that I never knew I had. Mr. J. Creature.
That's my
Thank you.
favorite sound in the world, by the way. I love that shit.
With that, I'll let you guys say your adieus.
Let's see. You got 14 days until election day.
Mm-hmm.
The unprecedented election of 2024. Get your shit together. You only got 14 days.
I'm gonna piggyback off what Mike said. Americans be out here considering the election for president as a national catastrophe. Usually people would be like, oh my God, this is gonna be so great. We're gonna have a new president, or we're gonna get like, well, in this case, we're gonna have a new president regardless.
Yeah.
No incumbents here.
Mm-hmm.
But Americans be approaching this like this is a fucking emergency, like a hurricane's coming. Okay, so what world are we living in right now? That one, where electing a new leader to bring us forward is like not good. We could die from this. Question the system you live under and plan accordingly for that. Because that mindset, you didn't think about it until I just said it, but that's the truth, man. Whatever side you're on, whoever you're voting for, you worried. It should be a time of national optimism, a time of a breath of fresh air. We're going to move forward, but instead we're like, we ain't going to make it, dude. And that's reason enough right there.
Yep.
If you prep for options, prep to buy time. Remember, you can't prep for everything for forever. So have a, how would we say it, a troubleshooting mindset. Be able, when something happens, to go, okay, I got this in my toolbox. How do I deal with that? And start thinking. Once you start to panic, you don't think anymore. And by the way, if you're going to vote, give yourself 2 hours, because I went yesterday, first day of early voting in Texas. Got there at 10:45 a.m. Didn't leave till 1. And everything was actually working. And they had all the people they needed. Nobody was being bad. Everyone was very cordial. Still took me 2 hours to get through the line. And that was on day 1. Still 2 weeks away. So go early. Bring a drink. You're going to be in line.
Mike?
Keep prepping, man. Keep prepping. 14 days. Do it. Do it.
Everybody,
Do it.
just keep doing what you're doing.
Do it. Do it. Most
Yeah.
importantly, I would say reach out to somebody who's a fence sitter, who you care about, who is not doing the things to prepare. Reach out to them right now. Right now, reach out to them and tell them, listen, 14 days till election day. Maybe you should go pick up some supplies. You know, things could get a little sideways. Do it. Do it. Out of an abundance of caution, we'll call it. Those are the words that the talking points that they use on the old TV, right? This is how they get all the normies. Out of an abundance of caution, you should perhaps buy some more canned goods and perhaps a couple bags of rice. Just in case. Just in case. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I know some people who can help you out. But do
Absolutely.
it, man. Reach out.
And with that, folks, I want to thank everybody. Keep on prepping because your family depends on you and it depends on your life. For the 4 horsemen, God bless everybody. Stay safe, keep prepping, and vote. And we will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.
The time is now.